Hi, this is Fettah Mohamed, a Moroccan high school teacher of English. For today's session I'm going to speak about writing skills. The skills whereby you can make your writing professional. The skills by which you can proceed in your writing from the beginning until the end without problems or difficulties. In fact, this lesson of writing skills is not for a specific group of learners, simply because it targets all the learners who are willing to improve their writing skills. So welcome for everyone. The first thing to mention here when we speak about writing activity is the fact that writing activity is based on three pillars. The first one is how to think. Right, so how to think about a given topic. So you should think of how to think, because the way you think facilitates your understanding of the topic and then write about this topic. And that's why here we are talking about the required ideas. So I'm going to share with you certain skills that really help you to shed the light on the required ideas, and this is what we call how to think. For the next is how to link. So how to link, and of course in this case we're talking about the required linking words. So to link between your ideas, so you are in need of certain linking words. So you should know these linking words, because these linking words, they play an important role to link between your ideas, and by the end of the day you make your writing understood and you create a kind of cohesion and smooth transition in terms of your ideas moving from one idea to another. The third pillar is how to write. And when we talk about how to write, this means in this case we are talking about the required text structure. The required text structure, this means the forms of a writing, because we don't have only one form, one text structure, so we have different forms and you have to abide by the rules of every text structure. So this is what we call how to write. So generally speaking, we have three pillars of writing: how to think, how to link, and then how to write. For how to think, the required ideas; how to link, the required linking words, whereby you link between your ideas; and how to write, the required text structure. This means the form of writing that you have to abide by its rules, or its form in general. Anyway, so we will talk one by one about these pillars. Right, so the first thing here is how to think. And when I say how to think, this means we are talking about the topic. How to think about a given topic. And of course, we don't have only one category of topics, so we have different categories. It's like when we speak about problem. Okay? I may have positive topic. I may have or argumentative. Topic. I may have describing someone. I may have past events. I may have a biography. I may have other topics, but these are the most frequently repeated topics that I may have to write about. And of course, every kind of these topics, so it has specific required information or ideas that you have to shed the light on, and you have to mention in your writing. So for example, when you speak about problem, so it's like when I have problem, so whenever I have a problem, so there are three things that I have to mention in my writing. The first one is causes, and I have to give three causes. The second one is consequences, and I have to give three consequences, and then I have solutions. Okay, so whenever I have a problem, I go directly to mention three causes, consequences, solutions, because these are the required ideas whenever we speak about a problem, whatever problem may be. The next is when I have positive topic. If I have a positive topic, for example, they tell you write about the importance of sport, write about the importance of technology, and so on. So we have different topics and we call them positive topics. So the first thing to talk about is advantages. And I give three advantages. So the advantages of this topic that they tell me to write about. Then to support these advantages, I have to give examples. So these are the most important ideas or required ideas that you have to mention in your writing whenever you have a topic, positive topic, advantages and examples. Suppose that I have argumentative topic. An argumentative topic means a topic in which we have two opposite opinions. Some people say it is good, some people say it is bad. So that's why we say that we have two contradictory opinions. So this is a controversial issue or topic. So how can I write about this, or how can I think about this topic? So I have to mention two things. The first one is for, means I have to give advantages. Okay, so why people are for? Why people say that this is or this topic is positive or is good? So I have to give three advantages. Next, I move to give the opposite opinion. So this means I have to give disadvantages. Okay, so why people are against? So very quick, whenever I have an argumentative topic, so I go and I mention three advantages and then three disadvantages based on what people say, and by the end I can mention my opinion. And of course I collect all these information and write them in the right text structure that we are going to speak about. Next, if I have describing someone, so whenever I have describing someone, I should bear in mind that there are two things to mention there. The first one is physical description, and we have moral description. Okay, so when I am given a topic about description, describing someone, so in terms of the topic, this topic, I have to mention two things: moral description and physical description. When I speak about moral description, for example, I have to speak about personality. I have to describe the personality or the personal traits. For example, I give just example. For example, someone who is calm and someone who is nervous. These are just examples. So I have to describe the personality of this person. The second is intellectual abilities. So what are the description of the intellectual abilities of this person? For example, I say this person is smart or this person is stupid. And of course, these two adjectives, they are just example to simplify your understanding in terms of this categorization of this description in terms of moral description. For the third one is attitudes. Attitudes of people. What people say about this person. Do they say that he or she is a good person, he or she is a bad person, in terms of he or she is, for example, helpful or selfish, and so on. So it depends on my description to this person. But this categorization, it helps me really to give quick description to this person. In terms of physical description, so there are also certain things. For example, I can describe in terms of height. Okay, for the height I say tall or short or in between, so we say average height. We don't have any other adjectives, so we say tall or short, or average means medium, so not neither tall nor short. For something else is the weight. I say, for example, fat. The opposite is slim. If not fat and this person not, he or she is not slim, so we can say in between is well built. Something else to describe is the age. For example, the age, I can say young or old, or I can say in between, middle age. Something else is if I want to describe in terms of the face. So for the face we say round or egg-shaped. Either taking this form, round, especially for people who are obese, or egg-shaped, like the egg. Something else is the hair. For the hair I have the choice. I can describe either the color of the hair, so I can describe the color. Okay? For the color I can say black or blonde or something else. Or I can describe, for example, the shape. For the shape I can say short, or I can say long hair, or I can say curly, or any other adjectives to describe the shape of the hair. And of course other things, but these are the most important things to mention or to describe when we have physical description of someone. So whenever I have to describe someone, so I go directly to think of moral description and physical description. And when I have this categorization of description in my mind, so I go directly and I start describing this person. This is for describing someone. Now let's move. Suppose that I have to write about a past event. Okay, suppose that I have to write about a past event, something that happened in the past. For something that happened in the past, there are certain WH questions that I have to answer. The first one is what? What is this event? So this means I have to give an introduction. Introduce this event, or I have to give a definition to this event. Then I have to write about when. When did it take place in terms of time? So I should give time. Also for where. Where did it take place? This is for the place. Also we have why. Why did it take place? And here I explain the reason. Okay, so the reason or the cause. And the last thing is how. How did it take place? This means here I have to talk about the events that took place and so on. So whenever I want to write about a past event, so I have to have in mind these questions and I have to answer them, and then I collect these information and link between them and then write them in the right text structure. So whenever I have past event, I should give an introduction, what, time, when, place, where, reason, why, events, how, and then I start writing. Right, suppose the last thing is a biography. Suppose that I have to write a biography. Okay? For a biography, there are two things to mention here. The first one is personal life. Okay? The personal life of this person, and also we have professional life. When we speak about personal life, this means I have to speak about personal facts or things. For example, I have to speak about the full name, to speak about family members, to speak about childhood, to speak about interests, and other things. So all that has to do with personal life of this person, full name, family members, childhood, interests, and so on. For the professional life, so I have to speak about studying or graduation of this person. I can talk about job or jobs, and so on. I can also speak about in terms of achievements of these persons. This person, I can speak about the diplomas, certificates, and so on. So all that has to do with professional life of this person. Right, anyway, so this is the idea of how to think. We have a list of topics. We have different topics: problem, positive topic, argumentative topic, describing someone, past events, biography, and of course we have other kinds of topics, but these are the most common ones. So the idea of how to think means whenever I have a problem, so I should go directly. When I have a problem, so I have to speak about cause, consequences, results. When I have positive topic, so I deal with my brain. It's like a computer. So I have files in my computer. So whenever I want something, so I go directly to this file, and in every file we have certain categorization of ideas. So it's the same. Whenever I have positive topics, so I go directly to advantages. I should give advantages, and then I have to give examples. For argumentative topic, when we have a controversial issue that I have to write about, so I should introduce the why people are for, and I give certain advantages. then why people are against, and I give certain disadvantages, and of course by the end I can give my own opinion. Next, for describing someone, so we have two things. So I have physical description and moral description. When we have physical description, so I describe very quick for the height, the weight, the age, the hair, and also the face. When I have moral description, so I describe the personality of this person, then the intellectual abilities, and then attitudes of people. When I have a past event, so I have to answer these WH questions, is what, when, where, why, and how, and then I collect these data so to write about this past event. When I have a biography, so I have to mention the professional life of this person, certain information about his or her professional life, and then move to the personal life of this person. When we say personal life, so I have to mention the full name, family name, family members, childhood, interests, and so on. Right, this is all about in terms of how to think. Now let's move to how to link. And as I said, that when we speak about how to link, means we are in need of the required linking words that are useful or helpful to link between my ideas. And by the end of my writing, so I introduce or I write a text that is understood and in which there is a kind of smooth transition from one idea to another. So the most important linking words that you should have in brain are as follows. So number one, we have, for example, we have two ideas, and I have to link between these two ideas, and this is called addition. Okay? So whenever I want to express the addition, so there are specific linking words. So we have and, okay? We have besides, we have moreover, we have furthermore, we have in addition, and others, of course. But at least you should know these linking words in terms of addition, whenever I want to express addition. Next, if I have, for example, two ideas and there is a kind of contrast between these two ideas, so how can I express this contrast? Okay? If I want to express this contrast between these ideas, so there are certain linking words that are but, however, on the contrary, in contrast, and of course we have other linking words, but at least I should know these words. For example, if I have two ideas and I want to say that this one is because of this one. So if I want to express the cause, if I want to express the cause, so there are certain words. We have because, we have because of, and the difference between because and because of is that because is followed by subject and because of is followed by verb ing or noun. We have also owing to, we have also due to, and others. If I want to express, for example, I have two ideas. If I want to express the result, okay? If I want to express the result, so the result, for example, so we have so, we have hence, we have therefore, we have thus, and we have other linking words, of course. If I want to express, for example, I have an idea and I want to say the objective of this idea is this one. This activity is this one. So this is what is called the purpose. If I want to express the purpose, so I can use to, I can use for, I can use in order to, I can use so as to, and other linking words, of course. Other linking words that are important to know. For example, we can speak about expressing, for example, conclusion. Okay, if I want to express the conclusion, so how can I express this conclusion? So I say, for example, as a conclusion. Okay? As a conclusion, I can say in a nutshell. I can say to sum up. I can say in brief. And of course we have other linking words, but at least you should know these ones. If I want to express, for example, the example. I have example and I want to give a linking word to express the example, to introduce this example. So I can say, for example, as simple as this, or I can say, for instance, or I can say a case in point. Okay, so these are the linking words that everyone should have ingrained for having a good writing text. Because these linking words, they are really helpful to link between your ideas. So if I want to express the addition, and besides, moreover, furthermore, in addition, if I want to express the result, so, hence, therefore, thus, if I want to express the contrast, but, however, on the contrary, in contrast, if I want to express the purpose or the objective, to, for, in order to, so as to, if I want to express the cause, so we have because of, owing to, due to. If I want to express the conclusion, as a conclusion, in a nutshell, to sum up, in brief. For the example, we say, for example, for instance, or a case in point. There is something else which is also important when we speak about linking words. That is division. Division means how can I organize my ideas. Suppose that I have, for example, number 1, number 2, number 3, 4, and so on. So how can I link between these ideas having this order? The first one we can say first, okay, second, third, fourth. So this is one way. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and so on. I can also say to begin with. Okay, I can say to begin with. When I have to begin with, then I can say moreover. Then I can say in addition. Then I can say, for example, besides or furthermore. And so on. So these are linking words used in order to give a kind of order in terms of your ideas. First, second, third. Or I can say to begin with, moreover, in addition, furthermore. Suppose that I have, for example, I want to divide my ideas into two parts. So I have one and then I have two. For this we say on the one hand, and for this we say on the other hand. So on the one hand, on the other hand, or I can say from the one side and then from the other side. Okay, so these are also important if I want to divide my speech or my ideas into two parts, part one and part two. So you say on the one hand, and I give these ideas in terms of part one, and then I move to the next, I say on the other hand. So these linking words are really very important if I want to link between my ideas, and that's why we said that how to link is one of the pillars of writing. Now let's move. We move to the third pillar, that is how to write. So when I speak about how to write, in this case, as I said, that we are talking about text structure. And when we speak about the text structure, this means the form of writing. And we don't have only one form. We have paragraph, okay? We have essay or article. We have report. We have review. We have email. And we have letter. So these are forms of writing. And when I say how to write, this means that for every kind of these text structures, there are specific rules, there are specific form that you have to abide by. Because a paragraph is not an essay, and it's not a letter, it's not an email, it's not a report, and it's not a review. To clarify these things, so we will go one by one to have an idea about each form of writing. Okay, let's start with a paragraph. What is a paragraph? A paragraph is a short text. In this text we have specific form and specific components. In terms of the form of your writing or the text structure, so when you finish, so your writing must look like this. Okay? This means that a paragraph, it is one body. In this body, so we have specific components. Number one is topic sentence. The topic sentence, it is used to introduce the topic that you are going to discuss in this paragraph. And before I start the topic sentence, so I must leave a space. It is called indentation. The next is supporting sentences. Okay, the next is supporting sentences. In these supporting sentences, so you give the details. For the last thing is number 3, which is concluding sentence. Concluding sentence means you have to give the conclusion to your paragraph. So generally speaking, whenever I want to write a paragraph, I have to bear in mind that it has specific form. So this means that if I write, for example, like this, I put full stop and I go to another line. So if my writing by the end, it looks like this, so this means that this is out topic. It's not a paragraph. Whatever you may write, whatever ideas you may include or mention in your writing, so it is not a paragraph, so this means that it is out topic. So that's why we have to abide by the form of a paragraph. The first thing is the topic sentence, in which I introduce the topic, and it must be brief because we are talking about short text. The second thing is supporting sentences that I use. So when I say sentences, this means we have a sequence of sentences that I use to express certain ideas, and of course I need certain linking words to link between these ideas and so on. And by the end there must be a conclusion to my in terms of the paragraph. This is for the paragraph. Now let's move to an article. Suppose that I have to write an article or an essay. Essay or article is the same. The same thing. So for the article, it has specific form and specific components. For the form, so when I finish my writing, the text structure, it must look like this. Okay, this means when I finish my writing, it must look like this. The first thing is introduction. In this introduction, I introduce the topic or the thesis statement, as well as I have to mention that what am I going to speak about in my in this paragraph and also in this paragraph. Because this one we call them, number 2 we call them body, and in this body we have two supporting paragraphs. Right, so as I said, so in the introduction, so I have to mention or to introduce the topic, and then I have to mention or to say what am I going to speak about in these two supporting paragraphs. So everything must be clear in the introduction. And then I move to supporting paragraph number 1 and supporting paragraph number 2, in which I give the details. For the last thing is the number 3 is the conclusion. Right, so the conclusion, so I have to give a conclusion to the whole text or the whole article. This is for the article. Now let's move. If I have to write an email, and of course when we speak about an email, so email, it stands for electronic, and mail is message. an electronic message, it is from to. Okay, from this one is called sender, and this one is the receiver. So email, it is an electronic message from sender to receiver, and of course it has also specific form. So what is the form of an email? Right, so the first thing is from. From means I have to write the email of the sender. For example, and then to means the email of the receiver. Next, I have to write the subject. Okay, so in these subjects I should write the topic. What is the topic? Next I have to write the date. So what is the date? Next I move. I should have greeting, so I say dear. Okay, dear, and it is followed by name of receiver, then comma. Then I have to introduce the topic. So I say I am writing this email in order to, and I should give what is the topic. So in order to invite you, in order to ask for your help, in order to complain about whatever. And what comes next is giving the details. Okay, so I have to give the details. By the end, I should say I'm looking. It seems to be like a conclusion. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. All the best. Or you can say my best wishes, sincerely, faithfully, whatever. And when you finish, so you have to write the name of sender. Right, this is the form of an email. So the first thing, I write the email of the sender, then the email of the receiver, then the subject, just the title. It must be brief, just a phrase or a short title to what am I going to speak about in this email. Then I have to write the date, then dear, and then the name of the receiver, introduce the topic, give details briefly, and then have this conclusion, all the best, and by the end name of sender. This is for email. What about a letter? And once again, a letter, it is a message, and this message is written. It is a written message. This written message is from to, okay? It is from a writer to receiver. So this is the meaning of a letter. A letter is a written message from a writer to a receiver. But the question here is, what is the form of this writing? What is the text structure of this writing? So when I speak about a letter, okay, so the first thing that I have to mention is my address. Okay, I should write my address. To make it simple, I just neighborhood, city, country. So I write my address, or you can put it as it is in reality. Then I should write after my address, so I should write for the date. So my address, then the date. And then move next to write greeting. So I say dear, okay? Dear, and I say dear, and then the name of receiver. Then comma, name of receiver, or I can generally speaking say dear friend and so on. After this, the same thing, so I have to introduce the topic. So I say I am writing this letter in order to. Okay, so I say what is the topic that I am writing for. So I write the topic, and after this I have to give details. Okay, so I should give details, and the same I have to give a conclusion. I am looking forward to hearing from you. Okay, best wishes, and then I write the name of writer. Okay, so this is the form of writing. The first thing is my address, then I move to write the date, then greeting, dear, and the name of the receiver. I'm writing this letter in order to, and I say the objective for which I'm writing this letter. I give details about this topic, then I write this conclusion. I'm looking forward to hearing from you, best wishes, and then the name of a writer. You may ask about, for example, that for a letter we have two types of letters. For example, we have this kind of letters, and it is informal. Informal letter. Okay, it is informal letter. Why? Because this letter, it is between friends. The question is, how can I make it formal? And when I say formal letter, means if I want to send a letter to a given administration, how to make it official. For making this the same letter in the same text structure, if I want to make it official, so there are just some changes or things that I have to add. For example, here I have to add if I want to make it full, I have to add the address of receiver. Okay, so this is change number one. Something else, when I say dear, I never say names because it is formal. So in this case, I don't say dear and the name of the receiver, but I say the title of the receiver. For example, this means that dear sir, dear director, dear madam, and so on. So I never say or I never write names because it is formal. The last thing is that when I by the end, so when I say informal, so there is no signature, but for formal letters, so I have to sign. Okay? So generally speaking, there are three changes. The first, I have to add the address of receiver. The second, I never put names when it is formal, so I just put titles, dear sir, director, madam, and so on. And also I have to add my signature. Okay? This is the difference between formal and informal, but the rest we keep them as they are. Right, so we have seen paragraph, article, then email, then we talked about letter. Now let's move to review. And when we speak about a review, so we have a book review or we have film review. Okay, so we have two kinds of writing a review. It can be a book review or a film review. For both of them, let's try to put it in one form of writing. So the first thing, when I want to speak about a book review or a film review, so when I finish my writing, it must look like this. Okay, so the first one is introduction. Okay, it is the introduction. In this introduction, I have to talk about specific information. The first one is title. Title of the book or the film. Okay, next I have to give right, so this is number one. Next I have to give dates or before the dates I have to mention the name. The name, if it is the book, we say the name of the writer, and if it is a film, the name of the film producer or the producer, generally speak. Okay, the last thing is the date. If it is a book, so we say the date of publication, and if it is a film, we say the date of production. Right, so these information must be included in the introduction. Now let's move. We have introduction, then we have the body. In terms of the body, so we have also specific information to speak about. So the first thing is we have to mention, in this case, we have to mention the main, if it is a book, the main characters. If it is a film, the main actors. Next, I have also to mention in terms of the plot. Okay, and when I say the plot means we are talking about the events in the book or in the film. I have also to mention the theme or the themes, and in this case we are talking about messages. Okay, and the last thing is what what did you like most? What did you like most in the book or in the film? So all these information should be included in terms of the body. Next, in terms of the conclusion. For the conclusion, I can express my opinion about this film or this book, or I can express my recommendations, or both of them. Okay, so this is the form or the text structure of a book. It can be of a review, it can be a book review or a film review. So there is an introduction, there is a body, and there is conclusion. Now let's move to the last thing, which is a report. So writing a report. For writing a report, it is the same thing in terms of the a review, but just one thing to add here is the title. So there must be a title, there is introduction, there is body, and there is conclusion. In terms of the introduction of a report, so I write, for example, the date, also the place, and also target group. Or any other information like that really can be included in the introduction. So we have the date, we have the place, and we have the target group, or the group that is or people involved in this activity, and so on. For the body, so in terms of the body, so there are also certain information that I have to mention. So the first thing is, for example, I have to speak about the main, for example, the main ideas. Okay, the main ideas and the activities. Okay, so I have to mention the main ideas and activities. I have to give also examples. I have to justify by giving certain examples. And by the end, in terms of the conclusion, so I can write my evaluation. Okay, or I can write my recommendations. Or both of them, it doesn't matter. So this is once again the form or the text structure of a report. So there must be a title, there is an introduction, there is a body, and there is the conclusion. This means by the end of your report, it must look like this. So that's it. So we talked about writing skills, and we said that there are certain steps that you have to follow. The first one is how to think. I should think of how to think about a given topic, and we talked about a list of topics, and every topic has specific or required ideas that I have to focus on and I have to include in my writing. Then we talked about how to link, and there are certain linking words that are very important, that I have to know these linking words and their meaning, because they are very helpful when I want to link between my ideas. The last thing is how to write, and it has to do with the text structure. And we said that the text structure or the form of writing is very important, because if you want to present your ideas or your to visualize your thoughts in the right way, so you have to put it in the right form, especially when you speak about having a given question. For example, write a paragraph. It's not like When there is a question, write an essay, so, or write a letter, and so on. So we have to respect the text structure. That's it. That's all. See you then.